Hi, okay, so today I want to talk about salt, salt water, salt mineral flesh, my protocol. I want to do an update and I want to do an addendum to what I have already put out there. So if you go back and you look at my sea salt water flesh and detox and remineralization, you will see that I had recommended a salt flesh, and I do want to do an update to that. There's been some problems and I want to report that to you. So I was recommending to fill 2 large mason jars of water and a quarter teaspoon of unrefined Celtic sea salt or Icelandic salt in each jar and sip throughout the day, also adding in trace minerals or plant-derived longevity minerals, whatever, to get your electrolytes up, to get your minerals up, to get everything up. I still recommend that. I think that is a great protocol that's worked for me, and I think it's very good. I was also recommending a salt flush for a mild detox, and I was taking 8 ounces of water and putting a half a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt, a little bit stirring it up, and following it by 4 ounces of regular water. And I was doing that daily for a while. Then I was doing it weekly, and then I was doing it monthly, and then I mostly just stuck with the 2 large glasses of water and only did that when I felt like I really needed to detox something, feeling super toxic, whatever. And so that didn't harm me, okay? But more recently, I have upped that because I have thought to myself, okay, I'm not getting the results. I'm not getting the detox. I'm actually not having that large diarrhea. Sorry if this is too much information, but bowel movement, explosion, old crusty pieces, that have been dislodged, like stuck up in your bowels. And you hear about all these people from major salt flush protocols are getting out old fecal matter, and they're really clearing things out. Now, maybe because I've been detoxing gently for so long, I don't have that reaction, but I wanted to have that reaction, right? I wanted to induce a major detox reaction. So what I did, and you hear the Superman flush, the Master Class Cleanse flush, you hear, you really need to up your salt, and you really want that reaction to come out your rectum. So in an attempt to do that, and I just want to say I do not recommend this. I do not recommend what I'm going to tell you that I did, and I'm going to tell you why. So I took 1.5 liters of Fiji water. They have them in those bottles, so that is what I used. And I put in 1 tablespoon of sea salt. So remember, before I was using 8 ounces of water and half a tablespoon of sea salt. Well, now I'm using half a teaspoon of sea salt. Now I'm using 1 tablespoon of sea salt, okay, in 1.5 liters of water. Drank that slowly over a half an hour. Okay, and I did have a reaction. I did have diarrhea. I did expel. I wouldn't say anything like I wasn't getting parasites or I wasn't getting anything old fecal matter. I wasn't getting anything like that, but I did have diarrhea within about an hour of doing that. And that seemed fine. I felt okay, and I felt like I could handle that. But I still wasn't getting quite the reaction that I wanted. So what I did was I upped it. So 1.5 liters again of Fiji water. Now I'm adding in 1.5, nearly 2 tablespoons of unrefined Celtic sea salt. When I was at that level, I was feeling nauseous, and I was drinking it over a half an hour. I was feeling, and following it by clean spring water. I was feeling nauseous, shaky, very shaky, internal shakes, dizzy, feeling just almost an internal anxiety, just feeling very off and bad, right? Like I was going to get the flu, and really off and shaky. My coloring was like quite white, and I was just feeling not good. But I wasn't even getting diarrhea at this point. I wasn't getting the flesh out the rectum. I wasn't getting that Detox. I wasn't having that poo. So I was like, I need more salt because that's, you know, the recommendation. So I thought, okay, well, I can't really have more than 1.5 or 2 tablespoons of sea salt. It's just not appropriate. So I am going to go down in water. So instead I took the 1.5 tablespoons of sea salt and put it in 1 liter of water. And it warmed it this time. So 1 liter of warm water. And it was even maybe a little less than 1 water. So when I was at this level, stirring it up and following it by regular spring water, and I think maybe the buildup of all the salt flushes that I had done leading to this level, and I didn't, even at this level, I didn't have the massive fecal explosion. I didn't get anything out major. That's not what happened, but I did feel super nauseous, threw up, vomited a few times, and I drank it a lot quicker when I was at that level because I really wanted to induce a reaction. So again, I just want to explain where I was. I was at 1 liter of warm Fiji spring water with 1.5 tablespoons of Celtic sea salt, drunk within 5 to 10 minutes, okay? And this was nauseating and I vomited. And I thought, okay, well, I just drank the salt too fast, no big deal. I had internal shakes. I was very shaky, very dizzy, very off balance. I went completely white as a ghost. My skin looked like a piece of paper. I was so weak, I had to lie down, and I thought, okay, well, this is gonna pass. I'll just drink lots of spring water and I'll level back out and it will be fine. But that's not what happened. I threw up again. I vomited again. I had about 20 sessions of vomiting throughout the entire day, about every half an hour to hour. It was like I had food poisoning, and it went right down to the bile where you're throwing up nothing but bile and really retching and getting deep as you can, like food poisoning. And it was a terrible, violent reaction. I was so weak. I was lying in bed. I couldn't get out, you know, except to moan and cry on the floor and vomit. And this lasted, the salt flush I did at 9 in the morning, and I think I stopped throwing up around 6:30 p.m. I was weak, wiped out, and then the whole next day I just had to lay on the couch and recover. So I want to do a warning, okay? And I never did have the big poo that I expected. I never had any old fecal matter. I didn't even have diarrhea. I didn't have anything, any reaction. It was all coming out. It was like food poisoning. It was like I had poisoned myself with the salt. So I am taking back salt flush recommendations. I think it's excellent to get your minerals up. I think it's excellent to drink the water, 2-3 liters of water, with each liter a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and trace minerals. That I think is primo. I think that's a great protocol. I think that that cannot hurt you. Even the salt flush that I was doing before did not hurt me, but I wouldn't recommend it daily. Now that I know what can happen, I would recommend that more as a weekly basis, or when something doesn't feel right, or you're having a Herxheimer reaction, your symptoms, you're in a flare, you've eaten something toxic, you've been exposed to bad air, bad fresheners, anything, you're feeling rather toxic, anything like that. I would not recommend the Master Cleanse Flush where they're doing high levels of salt within minutes, like 5 minutes. I think people are experiencing amazing results and they're experiencing amazing diarrhea. That wasn't my case. It was a very, very violent reaction, almost like I had poisoned myself with the salt. And so I do not recommend it. Especially if you're already ill, if you're already sick, if you're already weak, if you're already, ill, then this is going to be too hard on your body. It is not a gentle detox. It's not a gentle reaction. I would put a warning on this and warn against it. So I just put put my own warning out there from what happened to me. I'll definitely be changing that. I will not be doing the salt flush protocol as a method to detox anymore. I will probably use smaller saline enemas, and I'll go through that later because I have had success and I've been doing those for quite a few years on and off. So I will go through that. That's probably, you know, and sauna. There's other things, and I will talk about those, but this will not be part of my detox protocol going forward. So, and if I'm going to do it, it will be with small amounts of salt. Smaller amounts and longer time to drink it. And if I don't get the reaction out, then I don't. But as a way to remineralize the body and sip a quarter teaspoon of salt throughout the day, I think is very wise. And I think it's very good for the body. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you can see the difference. I hope you can see sort of what happened to me and the buildup and why I don't recommend that. It's not a good idea. I'm warning against it and just want to let you guys know out there. Okay, thanks.